Alright, so a very, very important message to a lot of people that have seen the LSS announcement for the heavy hitters calling in Queenstown and the celebrational event. A lot of people are looking at this like, wow, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be sick. I cannot wait for this. It's going to be absolutely once in a lifetime thing. Cannot miss it, and all of this. But most of us, and a lot of us, especially the people that have just got back from Barcelona, essentially, can't go to this. Or don't have the resources, or the funds, or the capabilities, the time to plan another trip that short notice, right? A lot of us have just committed to going to Barcelona for Worlds. And a lot of us are, well, I don't know if that's a generalised statement, but I'm going to Barcelona for the fun of it. I'm going for the social, I'm going for the gathering, I'm going for meeting people from around the world that I might not have necessarily met yet, like Bill, for instance, from Spike Feeders and the Living Legends podcast, of course. This will be the first time I'm meeting him. And there's a few other people as well that are going that I wouldn't have met yet in the flesh and blood, which is great. But the fact that this event will then be 2 months after that is a big ask for people to go to it, especially after people that have just committed to Barcelona. So I don't know whether I'm going to be going to this, whether I get an invite or not, or whether I'm part of this guest list or not. I don't know whether there's any compensation to being part of this guest list, but even if I'm not part of that, even if I am part of that, sorry, it's going to be a tough ask to get to New Zealand, especially from UK. Other locations like Asia and Oceania might be easier, but from the UK, it's probably the furthest trip that you can possibly make across the world. If you were to leave the UK on a Monday, you would get to New Zealand on Wednesday. It's a massive trip, massive commitment, and a huge amount of money as well, I might add. Which, between Barcelona, just getting back from Barcelona, the Christmas period, and then New Year, that is a lot of money to try and find out of nowhere to try and get a flight to New Zealand, a return flight to New Zealand, plus accommodation, plus survival money. It's not possible for some people, and a lot of people will not be able to go to this, despite feeling connected to the Fab community as a whole. A lot of people will not be able to make this trip, and that's why I'm making this video, because I feel like I could be in that boat. I wouldn't be able to make it. As much as I want to try and make it work, and as much as I want to use my entire Christmas bonus that I get from my actual job to try and fund a trip over there, I still don't think that's going to be enough to try and make that sort of balance sheet work. It's an incredibly expensive trip for the sake of just being there for fun. That is all I will be there for. I'm just there for a laugh. I'm there to drink beer out of my shoe while playing Fab. I'm not there to take home the prizes. I'm just there for the crack. I'm there for the social. I'm there to meet family members of this flesh and blood game that I haven't seen in years. That's the great thing about flesh and blood. I'm going to see a lot of people in Barcelona, obviously, but their flesh and blood is just one big family at this point. It's a big family that you see. Some members of that family you only see once a year, for instance, like Fluke and Box. Only see him once a year, perhaps. But still, it's just like a family that's always connected. The Twitter sphere, or X, whatever, is very strong. But that being said, it's also hard to accept that you won't be able to make it to these events. A lot of us won't be able to do it. Like Sin, for instance. Sin Fab TCG said that from Pittsburgh, it's $4,000 to get to New Zealand, which is just stupid money. It really is. For some people, it's not stupid money, but for most of us, it is. I wouldn't be able to make it if it was that much from the UK. I think from the UK, I found the cheapest flight that I found, return trip, was about 800 quid, and that was a round trip, and that was like a 37-hour flight, 37-hour journey, basically, with multiple stopovers in Shanghai and somewhere else as well. And that was flying to Christchurch. That wasn't even flying to Queenstown. That was flying to Christchurch, and then from Christchurch I'd have to get a bus to Queenstown, which is another expense, another 8-hour journey or something. So if you were to fly from the UK to New Zealand, I reckon it would at least take you 2 days to get to the location, which is absolutely absurd, and a trip that I don't think would be able to be justified 2 months after I've just gone to Barcelona for Worlds. I will try and make it happen, but I don't think it will. It really just depends on a multiple different factors, really. But it is a big trip. My life's going to change a lot next year, 2024. It is going to change a lot. Bit of personal information. My mother has finally got a mortgage together for a house. She hasn't had her own house for God knows how long, and it looks like me and the girlfriend will probably move in with my mum for a bit to save up for our own place. We don't have our own place right now. So that's something that we're going to be doing next year, and we're going to have a lot more exposable money to spend on things next year, alongside saving. So that could help the channel and help get to more things next year. So yeah, next year could be a fruitful year, but I don't think it's going to happen in time for New Zealand. I don't think I'm going to be able to make the ends meet to get to New Zealand, but we will see. Depends on what other people are going and all this, and what accommodation is and food and that while you're over there. You have to factor all these things in, right? So it's not just getting over there, it's staying there, and it's paying for everything else while you're there as well. So yeah, it's not hard. It's not easy. It's extremely hard to make these things happen, and New Zealand is, again, on the edge of the world, so it's even harder to justify it. But we'll see how it all turns out. Obviously, LSS have said that they've procured an extensive guest list of people that are invited. I don't know whether those invites will equate to any compensation whatsoever to try and get there, to try and attend. And I don't think I'll even be part of that guest list anyway, because I'm just a bloke that likes to drink out of his shoe while playing cards. I'm just there for the crack, just there for the fun times, the chaos energy and all this, and the zero fucks. But we'll see how it all turns out. The guest list is going to be announced at Barcelona, so I will be there when the guest list gets announced, and obviously we'll see what that entails. But I feel like the guest list is just, apart from certain figures, like the big YouTubers that are involved with Flesh and Blood, like DM Armada, Red Zone Rogue, etc., maybe like people like 3 Floating and stuff, maybe they get sort of compensation to be there, like Professor and Rudy and all this. But I don't think most of us will. I'm not sure if they're going to subsidise our trip to have us on that guest list at all, to be honest. I could be completely wrong, but I think it's more than likely just going to be a celebration ticket. I think it's just going to be like a players' reception ticket, basically. The players' reception in Barcelona, for instance, if you're not part of the World's roster, you need to pay to get in. I've had to pay to get in to the players' reception at Barcelona. So I think it's basically just going to be everybody that's invited to be at the celebratory event is just going to get like a free players' reception ticket, essentially. And anybody else who wants to be there will have to pay to get into that. I imagine that's what it's going to be like. I don't think they're going to subsidise any travel, apart from the big, massive YouTubers. For people like me, for people that are just in this game to have fun, I don't think they're going to subsidise anything, because I don't think there's much value in what I do anyway. Really, I'm just a clown at the end of it all, to be honest. But I enjoy that. I enjoy my role in this community. I enjoy being in this community, and I love what I do, and I'm passionate about what I do and how I feel about things. So I'm not bummed about that, but it's just going to be a hard trip to justify for the sake of just fun. But yeah, we've got Barcelona to look forward to. That's going to be great. New Zealand, we will see what happens with that and how much it's going to cost us. Probably a small fortune. But just wanted to get this video out there, because a lot of people are not going to be able to make this work, and that is okay. That is okay. Do not worry about it. There will be other times in your own country or in your own sort of local area where you can go and experience the magic of this game at a much more realistic level than flying halfway across the world to be there with people that you've met on the internet, etc. It's a great feeling. Don't get me wrong. I flew halfway across the world to San Jose on my own. You know, I didn't know anybody. I wasn't flying with anybody. I just flew over there because I knew, you know, a lot of the global community were going. San Jose was a lot cheaper, to be fair. But it's just a culmination of things, right? We got Worlds back to back with this New Zealand thing, Christmas in between. It's a hard ask. I don't know whether or not this video is even going to make it up, but I just wanted to record my thoughts on it and just say to everybody that FOMO is a tough thing to deal with, especially when you feel entrenched, when you feel involved, when you feel like you should be there because you play a role in this community, and we all do. We all play a role. LSS knows that, but they can't expect us all to be there because it is a long journey. But excited nonetheless. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be speaking about it on the Living Legends podcast for sure. But maybe some sort of sentiments of this message will also make it into the Living Legends podcast, which is a little bit late this week because of we recorded an entire podcast, 2 hours worth, and then we lost it because of the audio wasn't working. I think Kel's audio was switched off, so me and Bill were fine, but Kel's audio was off, so it just wouldn't have worked to release it. But luckily we're going to be recording another one. It's just going to be me and Kel. Bill can't make it this time, but it's just going to be me and Kel talking about this new article, this new thing. So, works quite well, to be fair. But yeah, just wanted to get this message out there. Probably repeated myself at least 69 times. Wahey. Yeah. First things first, let's do Barcelona, which is going to be fun times. That's it. 12 minutes. Bloody hell, what was I even talking about?